walk around Audubon Lake, and that will be Saturday, May 30th at 10 o'clock. And that will be conducted by Becky Solstead, and she is the head of the Master Gardeners. So she has done 2 walks previously last year, so well attended, she's so knowledgeable, so I hope you'll mark your calendar and come. We are doing a fabulous job. Once again, we have to congratulate ourselves. Ann Gillespie is our Trex wonder worker, and what we are doing is we are collecting plastic bags. And we have a collection bin in the library. We have a collection bin at the municipal building. And the goal is if you collect 500 pounds. Now, can you imagine how hard that would be? Not for us. Our people have been so wonderful. We are now on we're going for our 4th. We have three benches. So what Trex does is they collect plastic bags, and because we earn so many, every 500 that we collect within a 6-month period, they've given us a plastic bench. So instead of throwing these trash bags, plastic bags out, we're collecting them, sending them to Trex, and so if your community, your town does not collect plastic bags, feel free to drop them off at our library or our municipal building. The Audubon High School Environmental Club is doing Audubon's now going to have a community garden. If you would like to help, they're prepping it on March 14th. And the gully cleanup. So we have a kind of a little river that's a gully that people throw trash down. So that is the gully cleanup is going to be Saturday, April 25th at 9 o'clock. I do want to say that so we in Audubon and I think Oakland may be thinking about this as well. At the Chicken Ladies display workshop in Audubon, we're going to give away plugs, milkweed plugs, and they attract butterflies. So if you're from Audubon, now as I say, Oakland might consider doing this as well. We'll give you, and if you come to the meeting, we will give you milkweed plugs, and you'll be able to plant them in your garden and get all these wonderful butterflies to come. So that will be the May meeting. So also, and is this just Audubon, and I'm not sure if Oakland would consider this, we are going to pay for 5 people to get their gardens certified. Stephen's going to tell you all how to do this. We'll have someone come out and make sure you did everything right. Sustainable Audubon will pay for 5 gardens to be certified. Our hope is that in June we will have a garden tour of our Audubon's certified gardens. Okay, so something to keep in mind. If you live in Audubon, we would love you to become a member of the Audubon Sustainable Audubon Green Team. We welcome any ideas that you have. As I said, last year we worked like dogs trying to get that bronze certification. This year we're having fun. So if you have an idea, a suggestion, we'd love to hear it. Okay? Okay, so now what we've all been waiting for is Stephen. So he is just absolutely wonderful. He has won for 3 years in a row the Best of House Award. That's how good he is. He also has achieved level 3 certification in ornamental horticulture from Longwood Gardens, and he's only one of 3 in the country that have earned this certification. So we are just absolutely thrilled to have him. So, Stephen.
This here is the photos, the black and whites are my photos, but the books are part of my library that are really good stuff. A number of them on our website, I have a number of them listed, so there's a ton of resource there for you. But let me get into the real stuff here. Excuse me. Can everybody see this? Is it dark enough, or should I turn some lights out? No, there's one. A little dark. Okay, everybody? All right.
Is it better the other way?
What, out?
Better the other way.
Out.
No, with these lights on, those lights off.
Like that?
So, from this side.
Okay. Hip doesn't want to see the other, I guess. But what we'll cover tonight is all this. What is a habitat garden? What we'll usually see around, typically in gardens around towns, or lack thereof. The goals we're going after, what we're attracting, we're trying to get to our yards, we're supporting. The 5 tenets of a habitat garden. And how do we set it up? That's the big thing people ask, but it's really simple, actually. A number of photos of habitat rain garden and some other habitat gardens. Then that will be finding our gardens. What we're really trying to find, because there's so much stuff here in this area, it's incredible. Things that this past year I found things that I've never seen before in the gardens. It's just amazing the quantity of different species of pollinators, especially, that are around in this area. If you literally plant it, they will come. It's not an imagination. And then one of the gardens I have, I took pictures of it through each season, so you can see the progression throughout the whole season, from start to finish. And should always have something in the gardens for them for wildlife, specifically pollinators. You really think pollinators, butterflies, plant for them, work for them, everything should follow. It's pretty simple. So what's happening? It's a garden that's created as an environment that serves a sustainable tract haven for local and migratory wildlife. And there's other usual suspects and ones that come and go throughout the year. Provide the essential ingredients for them to thrive: food, water, cover, and places to rear their young, plus also sustainable practices. That's the basic tenets for habitat gardens through the National Wildlife Federation. I'll use that too. But think butterfly gardens. That's the easy, quick answer for it. This is a habitat garden. There's 2 different organizations that does this. The Xerces Society, which really deal with invertebrates. They have a ton of information on the website. They do it very professional. I have a printout here of a lot of information covered tonight, especially the website links. Here's the website address there. They do pollinator habitats. My garden is both pollinator habitat and certified wildlife habitat. And pretty much all the gardens that I create turn out to be that way, because that's why you just do it right. It's pretty simple to do. And there's the National Wildlife Federation. They have the wildlife habitat program that has both individual and community habitat programs. I'm running the habitat program for the state for the town of Collingswood. That involves getting a number of properties, residential, church, state, whatever it may be, individually designated as a habitat garden. And taken as a whole, it becomes a wildlife habitat, community wildlife habitat, which takes a number of years, not an overnight thing. But again, getting each one individually certified is relatively simple, just to do the 5 basic tenets. This is off of their website, National Wildlife Federation it is. They have a plant finder and a butterfly finder. put in your zip code, and it'll spit out whatever's local to your area. Most of the information is based on Professor Doug Tallamy's work. He's the professor at the University of Delaware that runs that department, but he's the god, so to speak, of wildlife habitats throughout the country. There's a couple books out now that are really extraordinary. The new one just came out last week. Haven't started reading it yet, but the initial one has three different editions of it that are quite good. A little depressing initially, but it tells you what we can do to help in our own gardens. And it's very positive in that effect. Here's the two books, Bring Nature Home, and the new one, Nature's Best Hope. Oops, sorry, wrong button. There we go, sorry. To create a survey habitat, you have to have the 5 basic ingredients: food, water, shelter, places to rear their young, and sustainable practices. Minimal chemical use, low water use, minimal pollution on your property. Now, just having lawns is a lot of pollution and a lot of energy wasted. The idea is to eliminate as much of your lawn as possible, so you're not wasting all that energy and doing it, and time and money, and to put it in place that with pollinator attracting plants. There's very little work to do, especially low maintenance plants that require, if you're done right, you just need to cut it down once a year in the spring, and that's about it. The rest of the year, except for the first couple of years, they do a lot of weeding, of course. But it's pretty simple. My garden, I water 3-4 times a year. That's about it. Most gardens, when they're done right, only need a few times, maybe only in the heart of the hottest, driest droughts we have. One of my clients last summer went away for a month and called me when she got back, saying that, apologizing to me, that she forgot to water as many water for her for the entire month. Went over there right away, looked around the entire, this is a big property. There was one plant dead out of thousands of plants, because they're all drought tolerant and established for this kind of climate here. So the roots go pretty deep. A lot of the plants go very deep. Well, you'll see a slide of that. We create a community habitat garden, which I think you guys might be trying to do in some of the towns here. I'm running the one in Collingswood. As I mentioned before, individual register different properties, and then take it as a whole, become a community habitat, which takes a number of years. The NWF will tell you, once you apply to it, they'll come back and tell you based upon your population in the zip codes that are in your town is in. They'll determine how many points you need. Collingswood has to get 175 points to get designated. Individual houses, residential houses, are 1 point each. Businesses, churches, town properties, parks, are 3 points each. And then schools are 5 points each. Go after the schools. That's where the points are. Collingswood has at least 10 different schools there. So who knows what else is in there. There's like anything that's school-like will qualify as a school. But the main thing about gardens, they have to look good. I was talking to somebody earlier, they put in a habitat garden in their property, and they keeps getting cited by the city because it looks too unruly. This is a very common thing that happens. There are a number of things you can do to combat that, such as making designated certain specific areas as a planting bed. Don't, if you do say you want to do your whole front yard, leave a 3 to 4 foot wide band around the outside on the sidewalk, so it looks kept up. And you do this on purpose. You're not just let it go wild and go crazy full of weeds. I'm not talking about doing crazy wild stuff here. You'll see what I'm talking about in a few minutes. But it has to look good to yourself, because you're the one who has to live with it. And especially your neighbors. They're the ones who can complain about it or love it and enjoy it with you. Invite them. It's good practice. This is a habitat garden. Large property. This is in the front yard. There's a 3 foot band at the sidewalk. That's all grass at this point. Now the homeowner wants me to get rid of that this year because it's all the neighbors are loving it. So it's not a problem. But it's, you do things to keep people happy with it. What we typically see when you drive around people's properties are this. That was my place when I moved into it. No 3. Those were the second owners and had literally had not been touched in I don't know how many years. Another property. Nothing to it. Or you find problem planted gardens. This is the Perkins Rain Garden in Collingswood. One button. This areas around here, nothing was growing except weeds. And the front, even in the front, these plants here are invasive spirea. Over here is a bunch of invasive stuff. Back here, the plants that were done incorrectly. They brought me in 2 years ago to help rescue it for them. And did a little work on it, based upon what they had available money-wise for the budget. There'd be a couple, 3 phases for that. But that, you don't do everything at once. You do things in phases. You think you'll do this section this year, that section next year, if you want to put your money into it. It can be as cheap as you want or expensive as you want. Our goal is that. That's before, that's after. Before and after. That's last summer. It's a brand new planting. They hadn't had really time to fill in yet, but it's this year it definitely will be. This is Perkins. This is right after the plantings. And this is how it filled in a little bit over the summer. Now I didn't have enough time to take photos last year, so this year will. You can really see the difference between all this stuff. What we're attracting. This is the big thing. Taking butterflies and birds. That's, if you think those two, everything else will follow. My fear. Red-bellied woodpeckers are constantly coming every day. Blue jays know me. They see me and start coming over right away. Same with the mourning doves. Plus all the usual suspects. They're always around. They come to my garden because I set up as a habitat garden. You can find shelter there. It's always filled with mourning doves hiding out. 15, 20 is not uncommon at all times. Blue jays are just amazing. They're really, they've taught me well how to, their calls, literally. I can tell when there's problems going on outside, or cats that come in the area going after the babies with their calls. When they bring in yellow swallowtail caterpillars, also known as the tiger swallowtail. It has the green, black, and yellow markings on it. That's a yellow swallowtail. Or tiger swallowtail. Those are common names. Bumblebees, a good native bee that will last late into the year. Honeybees are not native, they're from Europe. I raise mason bees, leafcutter bees, and bumblebees every year. I had the best year ever for mason bees, well over 1,000 cocoons this year. It's really incredible. I've never had so many before. Maybe 2,000, I haven't counted it yet. This is a native praying mantis. That's as big as they get. It's on the tip of my finger, it's on my hand. You get 3 to 4 inches long, that's it. You see the big green ones? Those are the invasive ones from Asia, Chinese usually. They're about yay long. They are so big they can capture hummingbirds, butterflies especially, and all kinds of stuff. It's incredible. There's couple shots here I'll show you of that. Native bunnies. Now, I've learned the hard way. When you start gardens out, walk the entire space. Carefully look for everything, so you never know what's there. I've had contractors come in to do heavy lifting for me, and they've stepped on their nests, making it, it's been problematic. So if you just look at it, look around, see what they have, you can take them, pick them up, put them aside in the box, taking out their original nesting material, put them back in that, and when you're all finished, put them right back in the same spot, or another spot safe. The parents are around, they'll come back to find that day at some point. Got into that at one of the projects we last year, using backhoes. They dug out half the nest. And fortunately, I was able to save it. So, This actually is one from that project. That's my guide. The 4 ingredients, as I mentioned before: food, water, shelter, places to live and young. But sustainable practices, that's a bigger thing. They added, the NWF, National Wildlife Federation, added that in about 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And it's not that hard to do. I'm not a purist. To me, it's unrealistic, especially doing it professionally. It's unrealistic to be a purist. But the first one, food. This is running through the year. First stuff you see in the year growing are the phloxes and some of the Carolina bluebells, hortensias. Really great plant. Spring food, salvia. This is a caradonna. It's a cultivar, nativar. It's like that's a native plant that we found with red stems. That is a hummingbird moth right there, which are really cool to find. A lot of people think they're hummingbirds, but they're actually moths. I have a little short video on one. If you don't have much space for plantings, you can just do pots. There are porches in New York City, balconies in New York City, that have gotten certified. There's big enough things to put a bird bath, a bird feeder, a bird house, maybe a planter like this, and they get certified. It can be that simple. I call it a smorgasbord. But this is a tiger swallowtail on Phlox gina. This is a naturally occurring cultivar. They found it down, I think it's North Carolina, I believe. And it has smaller flowers than usual, very small.